This is Porn Talk. Here is your host, Eric Zuzak.
Hello, powerful people. We are picking up where we left off last week with Sir William, but we are going on to a supernatural topic. We were talking about this meat suit that we are temporarily in, and how we met was through that paranormal experience that I had, and I reached out to you and other people, and so I have decided that for season 7, the season 7 opener next year, that I'm going to come out about that paranormal experience, because it was a big deal for me to come out and talk about porn and being addicted to porn. Like, that was I still remember the day in the office, or in your office, the church office. And I'm like, oh my God, you mean I got to go public with this? I'm like, no. But anyway, so I am going to, next year, I'm going to tell that paranormal story. It's unbelievable. Like, people will be like, this guy's trying to get podcast listeners, because clearly there's no way this story could be true.
Or, thrown in a loony bin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was. I was.
Sorry.
I was literally in the psych ward padded room.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the padded. Although I went in there voluntarily. That's another story. But yeah, and that whole padded room thing was because of the paranormal thing. People think, like, oh. So
we have to wait a year.
You have to wait a year, because it's more sensitive to me than the porn stuff. Because the porn stuff, people are like, you're addicted to porn. I get that. Yeah. That happened. But the paranormal stuff, like, people like, he's been smoking a little of the, in addition to being, doing the porn, he's doing a little of so yeah. So but next year I'm going to come out with the paranormal story, and most people won't believe it. It doesn't matter. It will be healing for me to tell the story.
Good job.
And I'm also not debating. I actually have the cover and all that for the book, but I don't know that I'm ever going to write it. It will be called paranormal porn, because let's just put it this way. When you are addicted to porn and you're dealing with, how do I say this? Like contacting spirits and that type of thing, you mix that together. It's not a good mix. Don't recommend it. Don't recommend it.
Not gonna do
it. So one side tangent, I had a call from a famous person. And so here's the story. I have been a fan of this person since I was a teenager, and I actually I've seen him several times, and actually paid. I did his program. This is like 30 years old, this huge binder, Speaking for a Living with Les Brown. Most of you may not know who Les Brown is. In the personal development field, he is a legend. He's known as the motivator, and he's hilarious. I love Les Brown. And a friend of mine, more than that, Beth, I work with Beth. For those of you who know who Beth is, I work with Beth. And Beth went to a conference thing. Les Brown was there. And she knows I'm a huge fan. I've seen him many times, and I've done his week-long course, Speaking for a Living course and all that. But that was 25, 30 years ago. But anyway, she got an opportunity to actually just sit, talk with Les. And so she hands him her phone, and I got a freaking call from Les Brown. Now, unfortunately, I didn't pick it up. So I have a voicemail
Message review.
Eric, Edward Albee said in a play called The Zoo Story, sometimes you have to go a long distance out of the way to come back a short distance correctly. We met 20 years ago. And so God chose you out of 400 million sperm. You were preserved for such a time as this to receive this call. I'm looking forward for us connecting again. Now, you have 3 guesses whose voice this is, and the first 2 don't count. Bye for now.
End of message.
It was freaking awesome. To get a call from your hero, like Les is my hero, and he called me. It was awesome. It's kind of like who calling you?
Yeah, well, that's why when Eric played the voicemail, I was like, that'd be like if John Edward called me. You know, my hero.
And for those that don't know who John
Edward's a world famous psychic medium. He started out on. He started out on Oprah of like 30 something years ago.
That psychic stuff is the devil.
Obviously.
You know, I don't know if we've talked about this on here before, but I find it funny. You know, I was raised Catholic, and I actually know a psychic priest, but he cannot call himself psychic.
That's right.
He has the gift of discernment.
Somebody close to me worked at the St. Louis Cathedral. And when she was working there, they had these paranormal experiences, and they called in a medium to come check it out.
Whoa. Hold up. The Catholic Church called in a medium to the cathedral?
And it was the spirit of a priest who used to live there and had died.
Wow. That is cool. That is cool.
Yep.
So cool. And I'm pleasantly surprised that they were open to do that.
I was stunned when I heard that story. And that's only a first degree story. My person very close to me was there.
So cool. I know who this mystery person is.
I know you do. And if you're into the psychic community and I told you the woman's name who was there, you would know it. It's not somebody you know personally,
right?
But
very, very
locally famous. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
And I can't remember if she professionally calls herself a medium, but that's what she does.
Yeah. So, but anyway, John Edwards is
would be
so
like if you got this voicemail.
If John Edwards called you or left you a voicemail, you'd be like, "Oh my God!" That's how I was. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. And what's really cool, William, is I feel like I've come full circle. So, what Les says in the voicemail is it's been 20 years since we spoke. And actually, I looked it up. It's been 29 years since I went to his I don't know, one of his programs. It was like 29 years. And I had him sign my book that he wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Live Your Dreams. It's a great book. It's an old book by Les Brown called Live Your Dreams. And I had him sign it. And I looked and it says, "To Eric the One." And way back then, I remember him talking about, I'm going to be talking to somebody, and you're in this audience right now. And this message is going to have a profound impact on you, and you're going to do these great things or whatever. And, you're the one. And so when I went up to him and just have him sign the book, I whispered to him, "I'm the one." And he signed the book, "To Eric the One."
Awesome.
And I feel like I've come full circle because porn derailed me from that whole path. Like I was
that's the big story. That's right.
Yeah. I was on that path. I picked up Brian Tracy. For those of you who don't know, who Brian Tracy is also huge in personal development. I picked him up from the airport and went in a limousine with him and other. It was like, when I think back, just surreal. In fact, I've got the picture right here. Here's a picture of me with Brian Tracy at I'm gonna have to put this up. This is not going to show well, but that's Brian Tracy there, me.
Oh, I remember this picture.
And I'll put it up. We went to this the only time in my life where I went to a place where there's a restaurant where there was a line of maitres all standing there like soldiers. Yeah. And I don't care to go back to that though. That's not my thing, but it was kind of cool to do for once. Oh, yeah. And anyway, I was on this path and porn derailed it. Like, yeah, it totally derailed me. Like, who wants to hear what a broke porn addict has to say, you know? And, but that message from Les Brown, it's like full. It's like when I play the message for you, like he says in the message, sometimes you have to go way like off your path to find your path, is kind of what he says in the voicemail. He talks about some play called The Zoo Story, which I'm not familiar with. So it's a play called The Zoo Story, where this character, in order to find his true calling or his true path or his power, had to go way off to come back to where he was. And that's where I feel like I'm at now, is like, I went so off the path, you know. I was literally digging ditches, you know, and shoveling rock. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And by the way, I had some tremendous satisfaction from shoveling that rock. And at the time I was in good shape. But anyway, that voicemail from Les Brown, it's just coming full circle. Like, I've had to go way off the path to and be in pure, just living hell created by myself. To find my way back, to be able to help people. Because if I didn't go through all those experiences, I honestly believe I wouldn't be able to help people as well as I do. Because when they're talking to me, I can totally relate to what they're saying.
Welcome to life. I believe that is each individual's purpose. Just like I was talking earlier about Neo and the Matrix and entrapment and engrossment and all that. Again, I don't like the word need or have to, but on soul level, you kind of have to. If you haven't gotten it yet, you have to do that over and over and over till you get it. There will be distractions. And if you look at all the mythology, Hercules, Odysseus, all these things, they all have that in common. There's all these distractions, or like the 12 trials of Hercules. In the Bible, there's different characters that represent different challenges. Of the one my dad always had to quote was Job. Whenever you told him life was difficult, it's like, well, look at Job. But my point is that that's universal. And what we tend to do, because we like being here, is we avoid it.
Yes, we avoid it. And how do we avoid it? Addictions.
Yep.
Food, porn, drugs,
porn, shopping, porn.
Yeah.
Other stuff, porn.
But what you're talking about is the hero's journey, right?
That is exactly what I'm talking about.
And what's the famous guy that wrote the
Joseph
book?
Campbell.
Joseph Campbell.
Yes.
That's Star Wars.
Heroes of a Thousand Faces. He wrote something in the it's the something in the journey. Anyway, yeah. He has several books that are absolutely fantastic.
Star Wars was written based on Joseph
Star
Campbell's.
Wars and lots of other stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The two modern ones I like to refer to are Star Wars and Harry Potter. Because
Harry Potter.
They're both orphaned boys raised by an uncle or an aunt and have troubled childhoods because of that. And that's just the beginning of the journey of the hero. There's all these elements that are part of that journey. And there has to be, like karmically or whatever context you want to use, there has to be a going away and coming back.
Wow. That's why I love William. I love talking to this man. He's a wealth of wisdom oozes from his pores. Oozes. Yeah, that hero's journey and those stories, and like you say, you have to go into the cave, or you have to have that.
That's what the allegory of the cave. Yep.
And as an adult now, I see Darth Vader or Luke going into the cave. I mean, it's all
there.
It's all there. It's so cool. It's so cool. And I am not in any way, shape, or form saying that I'm any hero or guru, nor do I want to be a hero or a guru. But I did have to go on that, or I'm still on that path. I was going that one direction, got diverted off into the cave and all that, and I'm coming back around. But I really feel like I am on the path now. So
back to the Matrix. At the climax of the movie, right when Neo has his breakthrough, and because this is also part of the journey of the hero, you have to face your fear. Like Luke has to face his father, Neo has to face Agent Smith, and Agent Smith has Neo on the subway tracks, and he says, "The sound that you hear is a sound of inevitability." And he goes, "My name is Neo," and that's where he punches him into the ceiling.
Mhm.
All right, we talked about a minute ago. Change of identity. The whole purpose of the joy of the story, the journey of the hero, is to find out who you really are.
Who are you? Who? William and I actually saw the Who in person together. You got tickets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom, my son, and Eric. 4 of us. We had 4 pack of tickets.
Yes.
It was a complete blast. It was so good.
It was. The Who. Who are you? Listener listening now or watching now, who are you?
And that's something else many other thoughtful people have said. The greatest question anyone can ask is, who am I?
And I would invite you to think that you're much bigger than you think you are.
Huge. Because
you're not just this, as with Yoda say, you're not this crude. You're not just this crude matter. That's it.
Crude matter.
Yeah, the whole that whole paranormal experience that I talked about briefly. I learned that I'm not just this crude flesh, and then started to discover who I am as a person. That's the journey that I take my clients on. Is this journey, and it's really awesome when we get to the point of like building the new them. It's really awesome and fun. And I just had a client the other day who went through my program, and then there's also a maintenance program, and like he was actually kicked out of his church. Not only he was kicked out of his house by his wife, and he was even kicked out of his church. And he texted me. He's like, and he's been doing really, really great. And he's like, I don't know that I need to do the maintenance program anymore. I'm reinstalled back in the church. I'm like, dude, congratulations. Feels really good. Like, his marriage was over, so he thought.
Yeah.
And he thought the church thing, like he was out of that forever. And it's really awesome to be able to touch another person's soul. I really feel like sexual issues, sexual matters go to the heart of a human being. And I know the work that you do is the same, because I use your services. That you get to do the same thing in a different way
I do.
to touch people's souls. And even the one thing that William does is that actually reaches out to souls that have been departed as well. This man is,
It's truly fulfilling.
yeah. Do you ever have any clients come to you with sexual?
Here's probably the most dramatic one. This woman said that she had sex with demons at night.
Ugh, God.
So, just like you,
The succubus.
well,
The
something we have in
succubus.
common is no judgment, right? A
Yeah.
guy comes to you and says, I do this 10 times a day. You're like, okay, do you want to change it? Right?
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
So that's my first question is, okay, that's interesting. And is this bothering you? Do you not like it? And she basically said, yeah, I was being raped in my
Ugh.
sleep.
God.
And so I'm asking some questions before I even get into the whole deep part, like I call it. I'm asking some practical questions and I find out that she watches horror movies all the time.
Oh, geez.
I know. Like, you didn't put these things together? And I'm not saying, so a person listening might say, well, William, are you just saying it's just her imagination? No. What I'm saying is it's a setup.
Feeding it.
Yes. You're setting yourself up for this. You didn't think like watching these would set up the conditions for this, put you in that mental state?
Yeah. I hear exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
A teacher that both William and I share, a spiritual teacher, she said that she didn't watch horror movies.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was a change for me. I almost never watch horror movies anymore. Like almost never. And especially with the boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're feeding your mind just like porn. You're feeding your mind this garbage. Oops. Not me. Not it. We're coming close to the end. So, yeah, you're feeding your mind that all those dark images and garbage in, garbage out, right?
Exactly. If someone didn't really understand this, I would use this example to help them understand. And that is, do you show your child porn? Like, well, no, that's horrible. Then why do you let your 5-year-old watch Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah.
Because, especially for children, think of it this way. You are forming their mental vocabulary. I could go way off into the spiritual communication part of this about symbolism and all that. But as far as what we're talking about, like human development, that's exactly how I would think of it. Like, I am helping that child form his mental vocabulary. So what words do I want him to be able to choose from when he forms a sentence?
Yeah.
What images do I want him to be able to choose from when he forms a thought, you might say?
What are you feeding that child? Just like this woman is feeding herself all these horror movies, and then she's having sex with demons. It's the same thing. You're feeding your mind all this porn. I mean, garbage in, garbage out. There's a lot of people out there, and they can watch all the porn they want, but they're deceiving themselves if they think that is not affecting their life.
I agree. To clarify, so like, even if I said, well, I'm not addicted, it still affects you.
Yeah. And here is a really weird meta thing that our same spiritual teacher, I'll just say, Deborah Bourbon.
Yeah.
She's deceased, but she's the one that turned me on to the work of Dr. Emoto.
Oh.
And Dr. Emoto studied water crystal or water that was exposed to different stimuli, like bad stimuli, good stimuli, and then would look at the water crystals under a microscope, and basically the ones that were exposed to negative stimuli, for example, like death rock, like like death rock would make these really contorted crystals,
kind of amoeba like, not symmetrical.
Yeah. And then it would expose it to like a baby laughing or something like that, and it would make these beautiful crystals.
Look like snowflakes in a microscope.
And this is a subject for another podcast, but I actually did this experiment that Dr. Emoto suggested with rice, exposing, rice, you put water in and expose one to good stimuli, one to bad stimuli. I did it 5 times. It worked every time. It blew my mind.
I saw it, firsthand witness.
Did I show you that? I showed.
You brought the actual containers in.
Yeah. I finally threw, well, that's a subject for another another podcast, but it's amazing. Like, our thoughts are powerful. Our words are powerful. And when you're taking in porn, whether you're addicted to it or not, it's affecting you on a cellular and spiritual level.
If I may use your word power, it disempowers you.
Ooh. Oh, gold, William, gold. Yes. Yeah.
You're giving away your power.
Yeah. It disempowers. You're absolutely right. In fact, have you ever talked to one of your friends and just said, "Oh man, William, last night I got out porn and I just whacked it. I whacked it for hours and I just feel so great now. I feel so great. I whacked it to this most extreme porn that I could find. And I just feel so empowered. I feel so good about myself. I want to go and conquer the world."
No, I don't believe I've ever had that conversation.
No, of course not, because it's exactly what you said. You're disempowered. So
yeah, we got to do this again.
Yeah, we do. We need to wrap up here. So
we need to do a whole episode just on like self-empowerment.
Yeah, we will do that. So anyway, thank you for joining us today. If someone wants to reach out to the metaphysical master himself, Sir William of Duffin, Happy Medium Will, how do they do this?
314-403-4744. Text, call, email is william@mediumwill.com. On Facebook, I am Happy Medium Will.
So who gives their phone number? This man is giving you his phone number. This man of such wisdom, the Duffin himself, Sir William. So anyway, also, if you feel that you have some challenges with, do you remember the movie 16 Candles? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And there's an Asian guy in there, and he say, "Oh no more Yankee my wanky, dog gonna need food." Do you remember that?
Not really.
Well, anyway, if you have trouble with yanking the wanky, and dog gonna need food, you have 16 Candles. Great movie. That's the 80s. That was the Breakfast Club, all that, if you remember that era.
Gosh, Grandpa, tell us another story.
Oh no more Yankee my wanky. Dongo needs food.
So if you feel like you need some food and you want to take a breather from the porn, reach out to me. Seriously, go to powerfuleric.com and request a meeting with me. I'd be happy to hear what's troubling you. And if I can help you, great. If I can't, I probably can send you to someone that can. So that is it for today with the artificial intelligence and the metaverse and the spiritual verse. I think we totally slayed it today. Gotta say, slayed it. So, any final words, Sir William?
No.
Very good. So anyway, thanks for joining us. And I'll leave you, of course, with I love Zig, his quote. You are what you are and where you are from what has gone into your mind, but you can change what you are and you can change where you are by changing what goes into this beautiful mind. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. If you're struggling with porn or sex addiction, reach out to Eric at powerfuleric.com.